All right, we are live. Welcome to Hangout Take 2 with Karthik. We just tried the Hangout. Technology failed on us, so we started it again. Welcome, Karthik. How you doing, mate?
Good, thanks. How are you, Jody?
Yeah, good. I haven't changed since 10 seconds ago when we last spoke. But basically, this Hangout is just about going through Karthik's transformation. Karthik, I went to school with him, a good mate of mine. He has an epic story that I really wanted to share. And to put it simply, he was a bit of a chubby boy at school, and he hates me calling him that, but he was chubby. Like, there's no way around it. He packed on kilos, especially in the senior years. So, I just bag him because I know him. But essentially, he was a bit heavier, and then he underwent this epic transformation where he, got shredded, got ripped. You can see him now. He's wearing a bit of a tank top. He'll give us a tense later, but he is seriously lean and fit. And he's actually one of the smartest dudes I know. He's studying medicine right now, and he's managed to transform himself, transform his life. And now he's studying one of the most intense courses possible and staying fit. So we want to look at how he's doing that, how he undertook his transformation, and how the whole process started. So, Karthik, again, welcome, mate. Can you just fill us in a little bit more on your side of the story coming out of high school?
So, yeah, as I said earlier, coming out of high school, I just sort of, I was always into sport and that. And in my sort of year 7 to year 8 days, I was quite active and I did swimming. And then I sort of started to just lose track of things that I ate, and everyone says that diet's such a big part of, it's 80% of your physique, and it's the best way to, lose weight. And I found that I was taking sort of solace in food. I would just eat sort of large quantities of food, didn't really have any ability to determine what's a good portion, and I was not really watching what I ate, and my parents would sort of just cook, not knowing sort of what I had eaten at school. I'd often be at the canteen pretty much twice, 3 times a day, come home, have another meal, and then sort of have dinner. So, yeah, I just sort of put the kilos on, and obviously as study got harder towards year 11 and 12, I packed on, like 15 or so kilos. And although I sort of still played sport on the weekend, obviously it wasn't enough exercise for the sort of food that I was intaking. So, yeah, I didn't really. It was all about the food that I was eating and my attitude to food. It was just, I literally just ate. I essentially lived to eat to live. Sorry.
You ate a lot, basically.
I just took enjoyment out of food, and that sort of kept me from being stressed about studies. And obviously this is a bad habit to go into, having to go into uni and that, and just in life in general, that you obviously don't want to be eating when you're stressed or to cope as a coping mechanism. So it was something that I had to change as from a lifestyle point of view, rather than just how I looked and my and my overall body composition. So yeah, that's basically the high school story.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm going to fire this question at you. I'll put you under the pump. I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this, but a bit of a backstory on Karthik. Every free dress day, he would purposely not wear free dress and wear his school uniform. And this is kind of serious as well, I don't mean to bag you out, but what was your body composition a reason to do with that, or is that nothing to do with it?
To be honest, it was probably 50-50 on me forgetting and me not wanting to wear free dress. For probably 2 reasons. Like, I didn't have that many good clothes as well. I sort of had a lot of baggy clothes in that. Yeah, but I'll be honest, half the time I did forget. But the other half of the time,
I don't believe that. But
yeah, the other half of the time, I sort of just didn't want to. I didn't want to rock the free dress. Like, I used to wear 2 t-shirts because I was sort of insecure about, like, people being able to see like my physique sort of through obviously 1 t-shirt. So yeah, I'd wear 2 t-shirts. And then like a baggy because I was afraid.
Yeah, it's important to get that backstory and find out what the mindset you were in beforehand, and then when did it change? At what point did it change and your attitude change, and you decided that you were going to change yourself?
So I sort of said to myself in year 12, I said, I know that I'm getting fat, and the thing is about getting fat is most people are aware, as much as it is a mental illness. It is most people are aware. Like, you ask them, they'll know that they are gaining weight. They know they're eating poorly. they know they're not doing enough exercise, and they'll admit that to you. And I knew that, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to wait till I get to uni, then I'm going to get fit, and then I'm going to be like, yeah. And that's all well and good saying that, but you know, I had the help of a few friends, and I said, look, I want to go to the gym. I want to start eating less. I want to start looking after myself. And the change came, believe it or not, from the fact that, you know, I was going out a lot more and I was meeting people and that. And I wanted to be presentable. Like, I didn't want to be this fat, like, you know, fat guy who, you know, wasn't confident with what he wore and just wasn't confident in himself at all. Because, like, if you're not confident in yourself, like, how is anyone else going to see you as confident? And
definitely.
that was the switch, really. It was just from meeting like lots of people, because obviously, as you know, we went to an all boys school. Amongst boys, I don't really care, but once you start talking to girls and that, you don't want to be this unconfident and basically almost, I was borderline. I would have been almost obese on the BMI, like on BMI level, but yeah, like
yeah, definitely. No, that's awesome. So was there a specific point, like a specific day, do you remember, or you just slowly made changes as you started going out more, or you slowly started going to the gym a bit more?
I can't pinpoint a specific day per se, but I think actually there was one day where I came back. So we'd finished year 12, and then I went away with my family to Europe, and I came back and I weighed myself, and I remember I was like, I think I was like 86 kilos or something, and I'm not that tall. I'm like 5'9" maybe. I'm not very tall, and also the major issue with me is that it was like, especially this is a big thing amongst Indians in general, but like it's all central adiposity, you know, it's all visceral fat around your stomach and around your love handles. And to be honest, that's in terms of aesthetics, like that's the most unattractive, you know, area to be fat. Like if you're fat on your legs, not everyone's going to notice, you know, but so it wasn't more the weight, it was more where the fat was distributed. And I had, like, obviously I knew, and I've got a family history of diabetes as well, and I knew that sort of thing is a massive risk factor. And I knew that for my own health I needed to lose weight. But at that age, my driver was about how I looked without my clothes, and I was scared to take my clothes off, you know, like I wouldn't even look down at myself in the shower because I was like, I don't want to see my stomach, like.
Yeah, and that's massive. And you say at your age, that's what it was about. I would say for most guys, especially most clients that I've worked with and spoken to, no matter what age it is, you know, 25, 35, 45, it's the same thing. It's about, you know, embarrassed with the way they look and look themselves in the mirror. So that's a big factor. And you say you were low on confidence. I mean, you were never that low on confidence. You're just extremely more confident now. I would put it that way.
I wasn't low on confidence in terms of my personality and getting to know people, and that it was more the physical side of things. Like, you know, I didn't want to get changed in the change rooms. It's more about confidence in my body, in my appearance. And it was more about that.
Yeah, 100%. Nah, real good insights, and it's good for people to understand that mindset where you started and then how you went from there. So talk us through, I mean, what did you do at the start? I mean, how did you actually get started? You know, what did you start doing? What did you start changing?
So like everyone, you know, you're an absolute novice at the start. You often go off what your friends say, like, you know, hearsay, and like, so I had a couple friends.
Mondays.
Yeah, like I had a couple friends who they're like, oh, you know, go to the gym, put muscle on first, then lose fat, do this, do that. And I'm like, okay, so obviously I went with the flow. Regardless, I was doing exercise. So naturally I was going to lose weight, whether it be muscle, whether it be fat, whatever. I didn't have any muscle anyway. So it was just going to the gym, and I was doing weights. And I was losing weight, and then occasionally I would do some cardio with a friend or something like that. And I tried to join a couple sports, like I played touch football. I tried to play AFL for a bit, and just like sort of, you know, I didn't really have like a set gym routine. I sort of just went with friends and did whatever they did. In terms of the eating, I just was eating less. I hadn't really changed the diet necessarily. You know, I'd still buy like sandwiches and that, and you know, to be honest, like when I think about those days, I think about like how much time I wasted and like how little knowledge I had. But I'm sure, like, you know, as we're 18, like we all go through that stage where it's like, oh yeah, you know, let's get on the mass gainer, and like you got to eat this. And, like, you know, obviously I was very I was very lacking in knowledge on how to actually lose weight, but I was losing weight because nonetheless my energy expenditure was through the roof compared to my sedentary lifestyle in year 12. But
Yeah.
yeah, so they started. So first year uni, I started to lose a little bit of weight. Wasn't really tracking, but I could tell because basically I could tell by my clothes. I was buying smaller clothes, and then sort of got into second uni, and I just continued with that sort of with that mindset, and my whole mindset changed, and certain things happened in my life. You know, I started to meet girls. I started to be happy to sort of take my shirt off, and those little sort of milestones for me were enough, you know, to really validate that I'm doing the right thing. Yeah, and it kept me motivated, and it sort of kept me going. But it stimulated me to do like research on how to go about this the best way instead of just, you know, listening to my friends. So like everyone in weight loss, you go through so many different pathways and so many different theories, and until you try it, you don't know. You don't know, you know, what's best.
Yeah, yeah. So you would have lost that 15 kilos total. You know, losing fat, gaining muscle, your weight would have fluctuated a lot. You know, where did you see the most changes? When did you start to see the most effective change? Like you're saying, when you're in massive energy deficit, calorie deficit, you go to be losing weight. But I mean, when did you start getting real serious? I know you worked with a friend of ours, Miguel. You know, started doing it for 50 macros, that kind of thing. So where was the massive changes, and what did you see as the most effective?
Yeah. So as I said, in the first year, it was just a bit of fat loss, but I still wasn't happy with my body composition. I was really skinny fat, and that is like massive in my family as well. So like, you know, my dad, my brothers like that. Like I'm almost predisposed to have a like central. So I know like that, you know, whilst I was losing weight, like I still wasn't happy. Like I didn't feel like I was attractive. And then, so what happened was I was like, I need to get rid of this belly fat. Like, you know, how do I get rid of this belly fat? I mean, even now, like I still have it, but I said to my dad, I spoke to, so I spoke to, a friend of ours, Miguel, and this is where I think this real switch started happening. So started to discover, you know, this thing called If It Fits My Macros, which is the greatest. And essentially like, because when I was dieting, I was doing things like I wouldn't eat dinner, like I'd fast. I was losing weight, and I did become really skinny, but obviously I wasn't losing the right weight. And at the time, all I cared about was, oh, I can see a flat stomach. I can see a flat stomach. You know, this is my boyhood dream. I just want to be a skinny white boy, but be brown. And like that was my dream. And so like every time, you know, like I did that fasting thing, I was just like, fuck it. I woke up this morning and I'm lean, but you know, I wasn't losing the right weight. So, you know, I got on to Migs, and he told me about If It Fits My Macros, and we started, you know, reverse dieting, and he put me on a routine as well. And I really started to understand. I started doing my own research about it and stuff. And I really started to understand that, you know, you don't need to restrict yourself to certain types of food. You don't need to fast. You don't need to really do anything out of your comfort zone. You have to make it fit your lifestyle and the workouts and everything. And you know, in terms of things like missing days at gym, you know, I don't need to feel so guilty about, or you know, if I have a free meal, if I have like a pizza or something like that, you know, because the mental health in weight loss is half the battle. So that was probably my most groundbreaking year in terms of body composition. I had hit my end of 2013. I had hit the best shape that I've ever been in my life in terms of body fat percentage as well as muscle. And again, I couldn't have been happier. I was just with the way that I went about it, and sort of the commitment. And I haven't really looked back since then, except for last year where I moved to Sydney and obviously just started medicine, and it was quite tough for the first 6 months. I sort of was going out a lot and that, but I think once you start that and you sort of know what to do, you know that you can always get back to it, and like, you know, the big loads off your shoulders. And so yeah, it's like, yeah, basically that's it.
Yeah. I mean, there's some massive key points in there. A couple were, not feeling guilty about missing days or having a free meal. And I mean, I've been out with you. I know how much you can eat on a night out after a bit of alcohol. It's enormous, and your ability to not feel guilty after that is pretty good. And I will put photos below this video showing how shredded you are now, because it's pretty incredible. And you say you hit your peak in 2013. I mean, you've just gotten a bit more shredded since then. I feel like you might be shredding a bit too much. Maybe you need a bit bulk up a little bit. You're a bit too lean. But no, I'm just kidding.
I do need it. I am going to bulk, but next semester, not this semester.
Yeah. For everyone listening, Karthik gets a bit self-conscious when I tell him he's too lean, so just wants to bulk up a bit.
And then I wear tight t-shirts. Mate, I wore loose t-shirts for the first fucking 20 years of my life. Give me a break.
All right, I'll back that story up. So one night, Karthik and I were heading out together, and he came out and he changed, and he had a bit of a tighter t-shirt on. He'd filled it out well. I just looked at him and I said, I do enjoy playing with Karthik's mindset a little bit. It's very cynical of me. But I said to him, "Oh, mate, that looks a bit tight." And he just lost it, and he wasn't happy, and he just ruined his night. It was so funny. Anyway, but the main point you made in that, talking about that journey, was that mental health is 50% of the battle. And this is so big. And I would say it's probably even more, because everyone knows you just need to eat less and exercise more. If you do those fundamentals, you go on to lose weight, but people can't do that. So mentally, what were the biggest barriers you found, and how did you overcome them? What were the key things to help you overcome those mental barriers, like feeling guilty, like just being able to mentally push through and actually do what was required?
Mate, I tell you what, and especially in medicine, which I'm sure we'll get to, I get asked this question a lot. How do you go to the gym so much? Why do you go to the gym so much? How do you maintain sort of commitment, dedication, whatever? And I said, and like the answer to that question is like sort of once you start seeing progress, I think, and if you're regularly tracking things, whether it's your weight, whether it's sort of what you ate through the day, whether it's taking photos every week or whatever, tracking, really kept me sort of on point in terms of, and I find that it's quite funny, but once I stop tracking, that's when I start to lose sort of my way. I start to, I start to get a bit fat, or I start to not diet as much. And it is like, that is the mental battle. Cause you're like, I'm like, oh, I'm not tracking. Like, I'm not going to weigh myself this week. So sort of who cares what I eat? Cause I'm not going to weigh myself anyway. Like, if you know that you're going to weigh yourself every day, or if you know that you have to take, you're going to take a photo on this week to see, your progress, you're consciously going to be like, oh, fuck, I can't have this pizza, like, this week. Or like, I can't get off my diet. I need to stay like on my diet because, I have these weekly goals and I need to hit the weekly goals. That's one thing. The second thing that really helps me is having friends at gym. So that's why I often found, I did find that first semester of last year was hard because I was moving away from home. I didn't have a car. Even just getting to the gym, cooking myself, buying all my groceries, which I did anyway, but I had a car. It makes it all a bit harder when you got to walk and carry the groceries. You can't buy as much. You have to keep going more often, and committing to cooking and getting back late from uni and all that. Like it's quite a mental struggle. Sometimes you're just like, why can't I have a meal like ready at home? Like why can't the gym be 1 minute away and the groceries?
Yeah.
But that's life. But in terms of having friends who sort of help you along, and they're going to the gym and they're motivating you, even just messaging them, talking to them daily, or at uni if you've got uni friends who gym, literally anyone that has some sort of motivation, especially if they're in the same setting as you. So in terms of medicine, like if I see people who are gymming, I can sort of relate to them because obviously we all have the same stress of the course, and a life outside the course. And when I see some people who are in shape, it's not many, but like the odd person that's in shape in medicine, like you look at them like, oh, awesome. Like it's good to see someone to sort of keep you motivated and stuff. And like it pays dividends for your own mental health as well, especially in this sort of setting.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, friends. I think support. My two biggest things were like support and sort of weekly goals.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what keeps me motivated. Yeah.
And the theme that underlies all that is that accountability. Accountability to yourself in terms of your results, accountability with friends, accountability with support network, and accountability to your daily tasks. So your cooking, where your gym is, that kind of thing. And that's and I mean, going more into the medicine side of things. Obviously, you're studying medicine now, like you're saying. Majority of med students aren't healthy, aren't fit because they just don't have time, and the pressure of the courses. You're studying such long hours at uni, and then you're coming home and studying even more. Obviously, you've found some friends that have, you've got a support network with, and you can, gym it with now. But I still know that you're very solitary a lot because you are studying on your own. I went up and visited you recently, and I mean, you can get that support to a degree, but how you overcome the other barriers in terms of finding that routine and being able to maintain it and stick to it. And I know you're passionate about mental health. I mean, how have you tied that all in together to keep yourself going?
Are you there?
Yeah, you got me?
Yeah, sorry, just sort of slowed down for a bit. Great question. So I had a bit of a battle last year, to be honest, with this sort of stuff, mental health wise. I sort of put my social life and my I put my social life and sort of not keeping myself healthy first. And I was like, I need to make friends, I need to go out, I need to and believe it or not, doing that and drinking and that actually was detrimental on my mental health, rather than, because nothing makes me happier than seeing results at the gym, even if I'm not making results, not losing, gains, or not losing, not going, southward basically with my frequency of gymming and consistency with eating well. And I went through a bit of a battle last year, especially at the start, and I've learned from that this year in the sense that I realized that we need to be accountable. I do pretty much everything solitary, but I realized that that is the rest of my life. Like I can't rely on anyone else, and I can't rely on anyone else to keep me going, because whether it's in this course, whether it's in gymming, whether it's in maintaining a social life, whether it's playing footy, ultimately I have to do everything. Obviously I've got support. I've got support of my parents, I've got support of my friends, but ultimately, in terms of mental health, you just sort of got to do it. Like I don't know, like it's hard to describe it. Like I come home and I know I have to cook. I have to, if you sort of make these things obligatory 5 times a week, let's say, then you just realize you've just got to do it. You're not doing it for anyone else. That's the key thing. Like you don't want to be doing these things for other people. Like you have to be doing it for yourself. And you've just got to do it. I've just sort of resigned to the fact that this is the rest of my life, and I'm always going to have a stressful life doing medicine, but especially in this course, the gym. When I'm at the gym, I don't think of anything else. Sort of just in my element. Even if it's a shit session, like I've had a break. I feel better. I've got some endorphins released. Like I'm, and I'm ready to take on some study if I want to, if I don't want to. Point is, mentally, it's really good. Exercise is literally one of the best things for your mental health. So eating well probably almost comes second to it. But exercise is literally, because you just get you feel good and you get the release of various.
Spot on. It's that Chinese proverb that exercise is the best antidepressant and food is the best medicine. Natural food. So, man, those insights are absolutely phenomenal. You've hit the nail on the head with so many key points there. One is that you've got to set up the right accountability and support network. If you do that, it'll make your life so much easier. But the second thing is you can't be relying on anyone else to make it happen for you. And a lot of guys set up that accountability, but then rely on that accountability and rely on external sources to get themselves motivated. And when you said, I just do it, I don't know, I can't explain it, I just do it, and I just love exercising, that sums it up completely, because we talk about different levels of change, and, guys, if they, logically want to change, they probably won't do it. If they're having a bit of emotion, a motivated state, they might do it a little bit, but not do it fully. But if you have that core change, it's just inside of you. And like you're saying, this is your life now. This is what you want to do. This is what you love doing. And it obviously carries into every area that you love. So you love studying med, you're passionate about it. You love health and fitness. You're keeping yourself fit. You love sports. So you're playing footy. You're committed to it. Obviously eating healthy. You're committed to that. If that's all part of your core, you're going to do it no matter what. And that's the big key for guys is that, yeah, set up the accountability and support. But if you want to change, you've got to be wanting to change yourself. And if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, you're never going to get that long-term change, that long-term core. So that's really cool that you said that because that kind of sums it all up. We'll finish off with a couple of key questions, and obviously you can say something if you want about advice that you want to give. But a lot of guys really struggle through the process and they can't commit to it. I mean, what do you think? What advice would you give to anyone that's starting or anyone that's halfway through and just struggling to fully commit? Personally, from your own experience, what advice would you give to them?
Okay, so starting and fully committing in terms of weight loss like programs and that.
Yeah.
Now, I guess it sort of depends on their barriers. If I'll just like using my like the barriers that I sort of might have are things like time. Understandably, everyone has a busy life. Everyone works, and that's fine. And sometimes you don't have time. But I think what people need to understand is that if you prioritize exercise, and if you start to get to the point where you enjoy it, that is probably the number one advice you need, is that you need to prioritize it. I understand, like, even if you're half committed, yeah, okay, like a Thursday night, a few mates want to go to the pub for a beer or something like that. If you know 4 days in advance that that's happening, you go hard in those 3 days so you can have that enjoyment day. You can have that beer that you have or whatever. And you can look forward to it knowing that you've had a good week on the track or you've had a good week in the gym. And it's about prioritizing is probably the number one advice you can give. And the issue is with people is that the way I live, like I feel like I live like quite an extreme. So I prioritize massively study and gym on the weekdays. I pretty much, I won't do a lot on weeknights. But I know that Friday night, Saturday night, or Friday, Saturday in general, that I'm going to do something enjoyable, whether it's go out for dinner, whether it's have some wines, or like whether it's go out. So I personally prioritize during the week gym and study, and that means like I will cook every meal, like I will not let up, so that when I get to the weekend, I know that even if I don't go out, and I can at least take the night off cooking, or do something social that's probably going to involve some sort of caloric intake in excess to normal. But the point is that you need to prioritize what you do, and everyone's busy in the week. So I feel like the week time is the best time. So if you work 9 to 5 and you're worried about time commitment, you go straight after work. You take your stuff to gym, you take your stuff to work and you go straight after gym. If you've got issues with motivation, that's where you often need a partner to start off with. But once you start to like it, and once you start to get into it, you will realize that you will start driving yourself no matter what. Every man, no matter what they say, once they start to see progress, every single man you ask, that is when they go as hard as they can at the gym. I think it's the issues with these when men plateau and then they sort of lose motivation, and then but that's the human body. It's always going to happen.
Yeah, we call it the positive feedback loop. So you do the tasks, you get results, you obviously get more motivated, and it goes back to the start where you do the tasks even harder, eating and working out, and then you get more results, and then you get more motivated, and then it's just a constant loop that you keep getting better and better at. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So last few questions. Would you do anything differently? Going back to the start, what would you change? What would you want to change? Or would you keep it the same because you learned the right lessons?
Well, what would I do differently? Probably from the start, what I would have done is seek actual, like, proper advice. So either gone to a personal trainer, or gone to a dietitian, or gone to an online fat loss coach like yourself. Seeked
Master the
out
plug.
seeked out the right advice sort of earlier, because ultimately you want to get the right advice earlier so that you can have a bit more flexibility later on to then do your own thing. I think like what happened was, early days is, I sort of made the mistake of sort of listening to my friends, and I guess I learned, as you said, like I learned the hard way, like I learned lessons, but I still would have preferred to have done, because I feel like I lost a lot of muscle, and then I constantly go through the battle of like, I don't want to wait for fat loss. I just want to lose the fat straight away. Screw the muscle. Like I just want abs. So like, and I go through this battle. I still go through this battle to this day, to be honest. Like,
you're in a constant change of training and bulking out.
I'm not the Donnelly. Like I'm not you. I didn't grow up skinny so that I can just bulk my whole life. But no, he works hard. But I've gone through that constant battle. So I guess I would have preferred to seek really good advice. A bit earlier from a professional. That's definitely best advice. Don't listen to your friends, and like obviously going to read things online, but start with someone who is qualified. That's what I say.
Fair call. And then in terms of like both fitness and just in life, of everything you've learned over the last 5-ish years, what would you, if you could write a letter to your 18-year-old self, what would you want to tell yourself, or what would you want to say to yourself specifically going forward?
Oof, that's a tough one. So, mate, I've genuinely forgotten the question.
What would you tell your 18-year-old self?
18-year-old self. But I would have told the 16-year-old to stop eating. I would have told, I guess I would have told the 18-year-old that it's going to be a tough journey, and it's going to take time. But the key lesson out of all of this basically is patience, and nothing comes without hard work and diligence, and that applies to all areas of life. I consider myself a bit of a late bloomer in sort of all aspects of my life. I've always been a bit of a late bloomer. It took me ages to lose weight. I didn't get into medicine the first try. It took me. I went and got into postgrad, and I just would have said, be patient with your weight loss. You have to be patient with weight loss, especially in men, because we're not losing weight. We don't just lose weight, like fat and muscle. We want to lose, we want to build a good body composition. That is the key difference, I think. And you need to be patient for that, because the body is not designed to suddenly gain muscle and suddenly lose muscle. It's everything in the body, human body, is slow if you want to do it properly with. So just patience and hard work will eventually pay off. I'm still not at where I want to be, but I just got to keep going with it, Jordan.
Yeah, that's unreal. And mate, testament to you. I mean, massive inspiration. The story's so cool. That's why I wanted to get you on here. And the fact that you've always been so open about it. A lot of guys wouldn't want to admit how embarrassed they were, or how much they really wanted to change, or they didn't want to take their tops off. And you've always, with all your mates, said how you felt. Being honest with how you're feeling. And even though sometimes it's annoying when you call me up and you say, "Mate, I'm leaning out too much," it's still funny. And you're an absolute legend, and everything you've achieved is like so good. And the fact you got your head screwed on properly allows other guys to see that it's possible. And yes, they have to be fucking patient. Don't expect to achieve the world's greatest transformation in 8 weeks, because you just gotta keep working at it, and you'll eventually get there. Great, loved having you on. Just as a final note, can you give us a cheeky tense? We just want to see what your muscles look like right now.
Mate, I'm tiny. Now. They're not.
There it is. There's the bicep. He's leaning out. I love it. Thanks for coming on, man. I love talking to you. We'll catch up real soon. I'll fly up to Sydney. Definitely, we can have another night out in some tight t-shirts.
No. All right, see you, dude.
Too easy, mate. Thanks. We'll talk to you soon.